Well, 2017 is over and I think we can all agree that there were some incredible games released last year. But there are definitely some more that I wanted to talk about. So in this video, I'm going to go over a few hidden gems, a few under the radar games that some of you may have missed and may want to check out in the future, because goddamn, there are a lot of fantastic things that came out in 2017. Let's take a look. Gora is almost impossible to explain, but that in itself is the inherent joy of it. It's a short 2-hour puzzle game where perspective is the key to success. Your goal is to guide a young boy through a gorgeously drawn world by sliding, layering, zooming in and out of 4 panels on the screen. It's intensely clever, allowing for situations where you create a cause and effect that makes you feel like a complete genius despite the relative simplicity of each action. I found myself hooked the whole way through, coming up against more complex challenges that really tested my logic and understanding of the game's mechanics. I would, however, highly recommend you play this on a touchscreen device, as the fluidity of dragging panels around to test solution makes for a far more engaging experience. The best thing I can say about Gora is that I've never seen anything quite like it before, and in a world where the video game space can get so bogged down in familiar ideas and mechanics, something as wholly unique as this should be celebrated. If Keiji Inafune and his team at Concept had released Mighty Gunvolt Burst instead of Mighty No. 9, I doubt that anyone would be complaining. Well, not anyone. The internet is a harsh place, but at the very least people would be celebrating that Mega Man was back. This game follows the pattern laid out by the Blue Bomber in the mid-80s, giving us a bunch of bosses to defeat in any order we like, and a variety of weapons to help us get through. The major difference here is that you can customize your weapon to a crazy degree. Want a fire-based wave beam that you can fire 2 shots of at once? Go for it, this game won't stop you. It's even laid out in a 4x3 perspective to give you that classic NES Mega Man vibe. And, though the levels and bosses aren't particularly memorable, there is a simple joy to having another one of these games to just run and gun through. To the Moon may be the closest I've ever come to crying at a video game. Kangao creates simple looking games that pack an emotional punch, and his follow-up, Finding Paradise, is no different. Playing as 2 scientists whose job it is to edit the memories of dying people so they have no regrets before they finally pass on, you move through snapshots in the life of a man named Colin and have to uncover the mystery of someone who was very important to him. Structurally, the game is almost identical to the Moon, as you explore small spaces to find memory cores that let you move on to the next vignette. However, the story is very different and focuses on another truth about the human condition, and while perhaps not as impactful as its predecessor, is incredibly well handled and heart-wrenching in its own right. I love the melancholy yet hopeful tone of Kangao's work, and the wonderful writing that is elevated by a beautifully somber soundtrack, which melds so seamlessly with a 16-bit aesthetic. If you're a fan of narratively driven experiences and haven't played either of these games, I can't recommend them highly enough. I'm not a huge fan of roguelikes. It's a design choice that seems to have pervaded the independent scene in the last few years, and as such I've shied away from many games I may have enjoyed just because of their almost endless nature. However, every now and again a game comes along that forces me to give it a shot, despite the roguelike elements. A few years ago that game was Rogue Legacy, and in 2017 it was Flynn Hug. In Flynn Hug you platform through sets of pirate spaceships, collecting treasure, killing enemies, and avoiding obstacles. It feels like each ship is a mini Metroid map, with secrets, dangers, and surprises. But the most crucial part of the game is how you move. You're equipped with a short-range grapple hook that can be flung in any direction, and allows you not only to cling to hooks, but to use your momentum to fly past them, speed around areas like a 2D Spider-Man. The hook is also multi-purpose, as it can be used to remove shields from enemies so you can take them out with your short-range gun. It can get pretty challenging, and as such I've not even made it past the second of the game's 5 major bosses, but it's a game I keep going back to just for one more run, and that's more than I can say for most other games in this mold. Maybe I'm looking in the wrong places, but I don't feel like we get enough 16-bit throwback RPGs in the style of Final Fantasy VI and Chrono Trigger. Cosmic Star Heroine, then, is a game that is clearly cut from the cloth of the classic Japanese games many people grew up with. One look at it and you can tell that the influences are tattooed on its sleeve. However, as opposed to the fantasy settings of most retro JRPGs, this game is clearly very sci-fi inflected, as your group travels to various planets, meeting different aliens, and even having some of them join your party. There is a briskness to the adventure that is appreciated in this day and age of 100-hour games, as it's an exceptionally well-paced adventure. You move between locations frequently, never lingering anywhere for too long. The real star of the show though is the battle system, which is both unique and streamlined in a way that I like from my RPGs. Every character has their own set of moves that can each be used once in a battle before you decide to recharge and bring them all back again. This encourages you not to stick with one powerful move, but to use everything available to you and to make sure that your timing is impeccable, as certain meters and stats will lead to stronger hits depending on when you use them. It may lack some polish in areas, but for what it is, Cosmic Star Heroine is well worth a look. Well, there you go, some hidden gems from 2017 that I enjoyed. I hope some of them piqued your interest enough to go out and have another look. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.